Hello guys, welcome back. Now we will do an installation on a flat door and we will do also the frame. So we will show how to do obviously a full door.
Nice, very cool.
The cool thing is that when you are doing the door, you have different solutions. So for example, in case of anti-fire door, for example, door of hotel, normally are anti-fire. You can just cover the front and the back because the side it's untreated, and you need to leave it untreated to keep the certification. So you just cover the front and the back. Another solution, if you have a classic door, you can think to cover the front and the back and also the side locker. So the most visible part for the client,
not the back,
and not the back with the hinges. The last solution is to cover the complete door, but in this case you need to remove the door from the structure, and you can cover the complete side, so right, left, and the top. Never the down part because it's not visible. So the application is pretty the same of what we saw before. So remove the stripes of the liner. Thank you. Check that the pattern is straight. For example, here we have the hinges, so I suggest you to keep less material as you can close to the hinges, because this will create you tension during the application. So just check that the pattern is straight, that you can cover the side, and you can proceed. So.
And again, this is what's called a hinge, so you always want to set it up with a hinge. So now the panel's locked in, you're good to go. Just
one thing, in case you have a metal vinyl, a metal effect, I suggest you to don't push directly on the liner, because on the metal, it's common that you can have a line, you can have a mark. So in case you have a metal finishing, I suggest you to just start from the top, removing the liner, and not in this way.
And again, we mentioned earlier, a lot of the detailed tips and tricks you'll pick up in the 2-day workshop. Again, this is just basic stuff.
Take out the liner from the back.
And just like when we did the first piece over there, we had a raised object, which was the outlets. In this case, we have a raised object as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So you will see that if, like I said at the beginning, you just keep a bit of material here, you will not have a lot of tension and you can proceed. But if the material was here, here you have a lot of tension. So this part we will not close directly. You need to open it and push. So my motto is always think before to apply, because in this case you can find the easy solution and the best way to do the job. So in this case, I thought before that if you have more material, you will probably have more problem. I mean, so just keep it more on the left side. Application is always the same. The synchronous between the two hands, center to the edge, 10 centimeters of the liner. And you can see that a door like that you can apply in less than 2 minutes.
It's great. And obviously taking the door handle off is really, really critical in this case. Door handles, for the most part, you have a little Allen wrench on the Allen screw on the side, so you just loosen those. Door handle comes out very easy and straightforward. Again, backing paper, always want to roll the backing paper nice and tight. Keeps the dirt down, keeps the material off the surface, extra set of hands. And then squeeze it back and forth. So a nice steady pace. You can see that transforming a door, which for me is one of my favorite installs, is great. But here you see an option.
We have a bit of tension due to the hinges, so I just open the material and I just apply.
So you keep in mind that you can pick the material off the surface and reapply it. So it's not like a one-shot done and deal for the most part.
You can do it many times. The only thing is that the glue, it's a bit strong. So if it's just a part, it's okay. If you need to remove a big part, will take time because the glue, obviously, it's strong. So in this case, what we will do is that we will do before the cut around the hinges. So here, just let me take the correct squeegee.
Okay. So you can see that, getting the material on is the easy part. If you have the right setup with the hinge, squeegee back and forth. But now the art is cutting.
A good advice for this is that if you never approach to the hinges and you need to do it new, I suggest you to use just a sample, not to apply the complete door, and try after, because in other case you will throw probably 2 linear meters. So whenever you have something that you never did, just take a sample, do a test. If you find the correct way, you can proceed. In other case, find again another solution.
Absolutely.
It's really, really important. So in this case, I know the technique. Just open the material, use the rigid part of the squeegee, and push on the hinges.
Nice.
And there is also a nice trick that normally the screw that are on the hinges, the line between the screw and the hinges is exactly the line of the cut. So I always use this technique. I cut exactly where is the hole between the hinges and the screw.
Nice.
And I just run on the metal plate.
Nice.
Like this, you are completely sure that you cover the complete surface.
Smart. Very cool. Good tip.
So run on the metal plate, just push.
Because oftentimes if you cut on the high side of the thing, you're going to be about an eighth of a millimeter or 2 or 3 millimeters short, which is not good. So that's a good tip to get.
Especially because the door are white, so in case you are doing a wood like that, will be a punch in the eyes. So.
Exactly.
In this case, you can use 2 different techniques. Normally, you can use the squeegee, put the blade in the holes and cut. If you have a bit of experience, you can do it also without the squeegee. So just find the hole with your cutter and do the cut.
Yeah, in the rapid suit, that's a cut we call tuck and cut. So you pick the material up, you tuck it in, then you cut. Cool.
We do the same on the lower part.
And what you'll see too is, part of the rapid suit being here at Cover Style and making a lot of these videos is that some of these we're going to do some installation tips and tricks videos, and these will go on the Rapid Institute library. So definitely check those out if you're a member of the Rapid Institute. So tips and tricks of how to speed up your interior films is really key, because if you get that speed quotient, a lot of times when you do interior films, let's say we're doing a door at a hotel, you have 500 doors to do today. If you get that time down by even 10, 20% with some good techniques, you're actually making a ton of money.
Well, for example, also pre-cut all the material before, do the preparation, and just spend time to apply with the correct people. I mean, use some kind of people to do the preparation, and avoid that the good installer will do the preparation. Like this, you always save time. So there is many tricks that you can learn. Also, how to manage a big project on site. So
Absolutely.
it's really important. In this case, the door, it's a bit more inside than the frames, because we removed the gasket before. Okay. So in this case, I should do a cut outside on the frame side. It's more safe. Yeah. I always go for the safer solution.
Yeah, anytime you feel like, especially when you're cutting, I think is a good tip and trick, is if it looks tricky, then don't do it. There's always an option that you can do a step to make it a little safer and then do it. So again, if you make that kind of jump in for a cut, especially let's say on a white door that we just talked about, and you make a bad cut, you basically just ruin the whole panel. So take a few seconds to make the outside cut, which now by running a finger, now you can get to the edge. Now you have the safe cut. So always just be super responsible for that.
We do the same on the other side.
Cool. Nice, very good. And this is, again, a safety cut, where in the sense that by cutting on the opposite edge, there's no chance of coming up short. Very short, shallow blade. There's no chance of cutting the inside. But the blade is running alongside the edge, so there's no chance of it going left and right. It's always going to stay on one side.
We'll cut the hinges.
So cutting actually becomes, especially on interior, it becomes very safe. You kind of just, once you get the setup and the good technique, cutting becomes very formulaic. It's like having a straight edge. And in a way, your straight edge, like if you're on a working table, you have a straight edge, and you're cutting like, let's say on the work table. Well, here, this is essentially a straight edge as well. It's holding your blade. Awesome stuff.
So now I can do the cut directly on the door side. So I just push the material in the correct way.
Nice.
In this case, we are doing just the front, so we will cut directly 45. I just push the lower part to be sure that everything is covered before to do the cut.
Nice. Again, very short, shallow blade, angled in.
Yeah, always use a little part of the blade, because if you use it, for example, like that, the blade will touch the frame, so the cut will be not perfect. So.
No. Yeah, definitely, that's the art of cutting, and you'll definitely learn that in the 2-day workshop. It's a fine balance, here especially, this gap is only about, let's say, 1 centimeter wide, so if your blade's a little too long, you're cutting the inside of the frame, and if this is for a hotel, they go inside, they'll see that cut, they might complain. So you want to find that balance for sure. But again, what I love is the transformation. Look how beautiful this door was. Old, is kind of beat up, it had some cut marks on it. So just in a matter of a few minutes, you can transform the door into one that looks totally brand new. Amazing stuff. And then that is the definite benefit of interior wraps, and especially with Cover Style. Awesome.
And the good thing is that you, for example, if the customer want to change the reference in 1-2 years, you can apply over. You don't need to remove it. So normally until 3 layer, obviously if you're the first layer it's a textured, you cannot apply a solid color. But if it's, for example, a solid color, and after the client was want a wood, you can do it. So you don't need to remove it. You can apply over directly.
Awesome, super smart. Yeah, sometimes for car wrapping, for example, Wrap Institute, we have videos on everything, PPF, tint, car wrapping. And sometimes a lot of those trailers you see on the road for, like, let's say McDonald's or Budweiser, especially in America, they wrap those trailers, instead of removing the entire graphic and putting a new one on, they just wrap right over the graphic. So definitely sometimes it's beneficial to wrap over what you wrapped, which is cool.
Yep.
So again, nice steady system. And what I like about the professionalism, notice that the cuts, when he does cut away the excess film, he's not just throwing it on the ground, he's actually hanging it on the side. That keeps your workspace looking professional, but also keeps, scraps from getting,
on your pants or close to the surface, but never on the floor.
I mean, unless you're super designy and you could put the scraps on your clothes, yeah, you definitely don't want
to. The lower part, so we already explained before, but after I will show you exactly the difference. So the first cut, it's straight.
Okay. So when he means straight, so if the edge was here when he made his cut, he basically made his cut 90 degrees. So basically just a kind of a 90-degree angle. And the problem with that is
you already saw that removing the excess, the waste part, it's already start to remove the material.
Yeah, which is, especially if you have carpet, that's a big, big no-no. Yeah. So even though the client's not going to see it per se in terms of the bottom exposed edge, they're going to see the lifting for sure.
And the good thing is, the point is that sometimes the 45 cut, it's not enough, because here you have an MDF or a wood door with a laminate on the top. And the laminate, normally it's cut more than 45. You need to respect the same angulation of the cut. So sometimes it's 45, sometimes it's more. Just do it, inclinate.
Okay.
And check with your finger that you cannot remove it.
Got it. So in a way, this is what we call shaving on the Wrap Institute, where it's like you cut it once, and then you want to feel, and then you want to kind of shave it, get a close shave.
Also because this kind of material stay probably 10 years on the surface. So it's not like a curve wrapping that after 2 years you remove it.
For sure.
So the durability, you never need, you need to look to the quality, but you need to have a good balance between quality and durability. Absolutely. Because in other case, the material will not stay on the surface.
So you can see by adding a couple extra steps in terms of cutting the opposite edge so the material gets closer to the edge of this, you're going to cut, spending 1 minute saves time, super safe. And at the bottom, making the one cut, feeling, shaving, cool. Absolutely. So just spending the extra 10 seconds here, 1 minute here, makes a huge difference.
So for the door, we explain everything. We will do, sorry, I need to do the cut of the handle.
And this is tempting too. I see some people, especially beginners, like they have the hole where the door handle is, and people just take the door handle and just kind of jam it through. That's not the best recipe. Where here it's just a very simple, straightforward, easy cut.
Yeah. And for example, don't lose too many times, because normally this part it's always covered. So also if the cut it's not really completely 100% perfect, nobody will see it because it will be covered. So.
Nice. You just want to cut it out cleanly enough that the hard work can go back in nice and safe. Won't lift up any edges, and very easy. Awesome.
Cool. I will open the door and we will explain how to approach to the frame.
So again, this is just a very straightforward wrapping the outside of the door, not wrapping the sides. And this is what you definitely want to do on those, safety doors, fireproof doors. Very important. Cool.
But also sometimes the customer accept, for example, if it's not maybe white, it's already wood. You apply a wood that it's a close color to the original one. You can just think to do the front and the back without the sides. So
which saves a
lot time.
A lot of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
About the frames, first of all, the sides are separated from the top. And normally, you can respect the original pattern of the wood, and normally the side it's vertical and the part on the top it's horizontal.
Got it.
But my advice is to leave the decision to the customer. So just ask before, ask what they want. Like this, you are safe, because if they say, okay, I want it like that, and after they say like that, it's not your fault. So you can maybe also ask to pay again the job. In other case, probably you need to find a compromise with the client.
The client is the boss, for sure.
Yeah. And the other important thing is that normally we do the before the top and after the side, because like this, the joint will look up. So it's less visible for the eyes. Okay. But for example, if you have a white color, if you do it like that, here you will see a little bit maybe of dirt on the joints. So I suggest, in case, for example, of a white, to think to do the opposite. So before the side and after the top.
Got it. Okay.
Different solution, always think before to apply.
Sure. Yeah, what you want to think about, wrap institute, we have a thing that we call scene in sections. So like if you're wrapping a car, it's not a driver's side, it's a fender, door, back fender. Same thing with the frame, where you don't have to wrap the entire frame in a giant piece, because there's natural breaks in here. Now you can use less material, which saves money.
And also an important thing is that normally the frames came out from the waist of the door. So it's more money for you because you use for the frames a waste of material. So you don't need to buy more material. You can just use this for this.
Yeah. So keep in mind the material is generally 120 centimeters. 122. So this door is less than 122. So the extra
normally it's 90-95.
Yeah. So you can take that extra material, which is around 20 centimeters, cut that up into sections, and you have your frame.
So with the front you can do left side, and with the back you can do right side.
Perfect. Awesome.
One important thing is also that sometimes you can cover the top, but also you can cut directly 45. So it's save time.
Huge amount of time. So if your client is not as tall as here, definitely do that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the first layer. So in case we need to go inside and cover this part, there is a rules. It's always like that. To have a correct overlap, our rules is to avoid to do a cut in the corner. Because if you cut with the cutter in the corner, probably you cut both layers and you see the original color. So we always use this technique. The first cut, it's 45. And in this way, you have exactly 2 millimeters that will cover this side when you go inside.
Okay.
And the last layer, so the side, will be straight to have the finishing. So it's always like that.
Okay.
Another important point is this. This material, it's a bit rigid. It's not like a curve wrapping film that it's 1800 micron.
Sure.
This is between 200 and 400. So it's rigid. It's easy to leave a channel of air in the corner. So I suggest you to use this technique that we call free step. It's quite easy. Always, when you need to cross a corner, do like that. Just push on the top, push in the middle, and push after the corner.
Nice.
This will give you a chance to don't leave any a channel of fire. Because in other case, if you have a channel of fire, sometimes you can remove it, sometimes no. So we'll stay on the surface. Okay. So it's really important that you can work like that. I just take the squeegee that I left.
Very cool.
Here.
So again, because the material is so thick and you round that edge, if it floats at all, again, it depends on which type of cover style it is. The thicker, the more chance of air. So you really want to make sure you get that tight edge for sure.
In this case, you should use this type of squeegee, so the rigid part with the straight corner. So just push inside.
Okay.
And with this, you can exactly push the material in the corner. In other case, if you use the round part or the other squeegee, you cannot do it. So always keep in mind to have this kind of squeegee.
Okay.
Here we use a technique normally that it's called Pac-Man. So we just fix the back, the round part, and we just do it like that.
Okay. So again, that's essentially what we called earlier a tuck and cut. So you're basically tucked it in nice and clean, and now we make the cut.
Here we have a gasket that we remove it. So if the cut is not completely perfect, will be covered by the gasket.
Nice. Very cool. Awesome.
And now, for this part, you should have some millimeter more to have an overlap, and the last layer will be exactly on the line. So this one, you will cut a bit after the line.
Got it.
And the last one, you will cut exactly from one corner to the other. So just put the squeegee a bit after the corner.
Nice. So the squeegee is acting like a straight edge, which is really nice. Because otherwise, if you try to freehand it, the chance of that going crooked is very high.
And you need to cut a little part on the side.
Nice. So you cut on the opposite side of the brake.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Now you can proceed with the side.
So this one, same thing, because it's a wood grain, you want to make sure that the wood grain is uniform, so when the door closes, you don't want it being crooked. Awesome. Squeegee it on, very straightforward. And I love the frames because it's super easy to apply, and that way you just kind of take the backing paper off and go. Awesome.
And here you need to have the finishing. So the cut, it's not 45 like the previous one, but it's just straight.
Okay. So the first cut, 45 degrees angle in. Second
to have
cut,
some millimeter more, and the second one, it's straight to have the finishing.
Super smart.
Always use the free step, so top, center, after the side, after the corner.
Yep, cool.
Rigid part, and Pac-Man.
Or Miss Pac-Man. So Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, baby Pac-Man, whatever floats your boat. Cool, tuck and cut. So again, you start to see it become formulaic after a while. Even though these are basic techniques, for me, it's really good stuff because you're getting that super good quality. You're getting the overlaps, which create the strength. You're not missing edges. Really awesome.
And in this way, you don't need to cut here. So it's the most safer way to do the corner.
And it saves time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you can use the free step and cover the side.
Nice. And if you feel like if you're doing a lot of doors after a while, once you get the hang of wrapping with cover style, definitely recommend getting an application glove when you start doing the 3-step, because again, you can wear your fingers out pretty quick.
Absolutely. And now you can cut from one edge to the other to have the finishing. So just highlight the top. Place the squeegee from one corner to the other. Be careful about the pressure.
Yeah, so in this case, you really want to fine-tune your pressure here in the sense that you don't want to cut too deep. If you cut too deep, the bottom layer might split.
Yeah, normally a good trick that we use is that you can, I will show you now. For example, you can take a sample of material and just try to cut the liner with the blade. So this will give you a chance to take a bit of more sensitive about the cut.
Nice.
So just try to cut the liner without cut the vinyl.
Awesome.
Here we do the same, so we cut 45 because we are not cover the top part.
Yeah.
And for the frame, see, it's pretty everything.
Looks beautiful. Awesome. Really cool. I want to see how it compares to the shot. Awesome. Oh, we got that. This looks really good. Super cool. Super smooth, professional, looks brand new. Awesome. Really
and the good point is that when you have a texture like that, also if you have a damage, you can maybe avoid to fix it because the pattern will cover the damage. So when you have many preparation to do, just keep in mind maybe to sell a structured and textured vinyl. Like this, you avoid to do too many preparation.
Awesome. Very cool. But again, for me, I've been wrapping for 25 years, 26 years, and I still have that. I love the sensation of wrapping, of taking something plain and boring, in a matter of minutes, you can really transform it like a brand new. So if you have an old door in your house, if you have an old table, if you're in an office that you're kind of bored of, easily transform it.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Awesome.
I think about door and frame seats, everything. We will do another pause of 5 minutes, and after we will see for the technique for the cut.
Awesome. Super cool.